Oilersnation Everyday with your hosts, Tyler and Liam.
All right, it's New Year's Eve. I got my list of resolutions here. Number 1, I'm going to hit the gym. That's a good one. Number 2, less beers. And number 3, I have don't fall for the Oilers July 1st bullshit. Who are we kidding? I'm not doing any of this. Let's get into it with the lead. Have I been burned believing in Andrew Mangiapane? Sure. Did I also get burned believing in Victor Arvidsson and Jeff Skinner? Absolutely. But this goes back. It's in my DNA. I was excited when Eric Belanger took that extra year because he believed in what the Oilers were building. Let me welcome into Oilers Nation Everyday, New Year's Eve edition of the show. 8 Angry Nuns is in, says, boo, more beers. Hell yeah, brother, more beers. Why not? I'm not listening to anything I wrote on this damn list. Maybe I'll follow it for a day or until Andrew Mangiapane gets traded. But welcome into the show. We are live from the Sports Closet studio. Check them out online, sportscloset.ca. A Team Canada jersey ahead of the Olympics with Sam Bennett, no. Evan Bouchard, no. Zach Hyman, no. Maybe you want to get an Anthony Cirelli jersey. The show is a presentation of Bet365. Download the app today. Use the promo code NATION. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Where's Liam? There he is. Hi, Liam.
Good morning, afternoon. You're on a bit of a heater right now. I'm not sure I can even provide anything to this show after that introduction you just gave everyone.
That was a good one. Again, I was in a slump with the leads for a little bit, but like, come on. Everyone says every December 31st, like, I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to do this less. I'm going to lose all my bad habits. And every year we get to December 31st and we go, man, next July 1, we're just going to wait and see on whoever the Oilers sign. And then we all predict Andrew Mangiapane will score 25 goals and it's December and he's asking for a trade.
It's just a beautiful cycle that we all like to live in. But yeah. I've just come to the realization that I don't like to do difficult things in my life, which I've mentioned a few times. So no chance I go to the gym. Maybe I'll go for a couple extra walks in the summer and call it a day.
Yeah, I think that's probably a smart thing to do. All right, we are getting right into things today because I see our first guest is already dialed up and ready to go. Liam, our reaction to Canada's Olympic announcement is brought to you by our friends at Greta. It don't matter how early the games are starting out in Milan. Greta is your spot, and they will be your spot to watch the game. Arcade bar, street food, and elite TV setup. You get it all at Greta. Excited to welcome in our friend Jeff Merrick from the Sheet. Jeff, New Year's resolutions, any hockey-based ones?
Oh boy. I'll try not to spend too much money on my kids' hockey sticks. No, that's not gonna happen. These things ain't cheap. Nothing really. I've never been a big New Year's resolution kind of guy. It's never been the okay, and that's it. Now I'm gonna start lifting more. Now I gotta watch what I eat. I've never really been that guy. It's I don't know, resolution like January 1st resolutions kind of seems like it's one for amateurs. It's like drinking on St. Patrick's Day, right? It's like, okay, it's amateur night. It's like resolution night, New Year's Eve. Like, yeah, no, I've never been that guy.
Drinking on St. Patrick's Day, buddy. I'll drink on any Tuesday of the year. You don't need to entice me with green food.
Fair.
The reason we got you on today, Jeff, is to talk about the Olympic announcement today.
Sure.
Doug Armstrong officially unveiling the players who will be going to Milan for Team Canada. I guess we'll start. The one that caught me off guard and surprised me was no Sam Bennett. Did anything catch you off guard, or is Bennett kind of the one?
Bennett is one, although it very much does feel like this is a Sam Bennett for Tom Wilson kind of swap. And, it's interesting on the sheet today, Brian Burke brought up a really interesting point. And this furthers what Doug Armstrong was talking about. And he said something along the lines of, Team Canada built a team that can beat the United States. And because of that, they've built a team that can beat everybody, provided obviously that everybody stays healthy here. Goaltending is always a question mark. We can get into that if you want. But I as far as surprises go, Bennett is one, although it feels like Bennett was a swap out for Tom Wilson. And Tom Wilson, bigger, stronger, doesn't have a Conn Smythe trophy in his hip pocket. I understand. Leads the Washington Capitals right now, is a really effective penalty killer, having a really good season. And let's not forget too, I'm very much of the belief, and I was in the minority on this one, but I think that my sources on this one were pretty good. I think last time around when the NHLers got scotched from going, I think Tom Wilson was on the team, guys. I really do. I think this is a player that that Doug Armstrong has wanted on this Olympic team for now the second cycle. So maybe that shouldn't be a surprise. But yeah, given that there was a lot of loyalty paid to some significant players, specifically the entire blue line from the Four Nations, I did raise an eyebrow. I'll tell you what, I look at it in terms of who am I happy for and who do I feel bad for. And it's tough not to feel, bad for someone like Mark Scheifele, a guy that's a 24/7 hockey guy, has been having some fantastic seasons, left off Four Nations, now left off the Olympic team. But not to drop Berkey's name again, but he brought up a great point. Like you're selecting royalty when you're making Team Canada here. Like Mark Scheifele makes how many other teams in this tournament? But there's no room at the end for him in Canada. I like that they took Bo Horvat. Horvat was really disappointed he didn't make Four Nations last year. And sort of one of the things that he's really focused on since Four Nations last year is getting to the Olympics and being part of the Olympic team. And you can see it, right? Protecting a lead, face off in Canada's zone. He's the guy out there taking the face off. Not that Bo Horvat is just there to take a face off, but you need to have someone where if we need a face off win, we need a guy that's as close to guaranteed as possible. Bo Horvat is your guy. Maybe Macklin Celebrini. And here's why. Not that he doesn't deserve it, because he certainly does. Great 200-foot player. And one of the offensive, juggernauts in the NHL season, but they don't take young players. Like the youngest player in the NHL era of the Olympics for Hockey Canada, the youngest player they've taken is Drew Doughty in Vancouver. He was 20. Macklin Celebrini is 19. If anything's going to sort of raise an eyebrow and go like, "Ooh, this is really breaking from what Hockey Canada does," to me, it's probably Macklin Celebrini going, just because of the age thing, just because of the age.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about the blue line, Jeff. Obviously, they took the 8 players they took last time. Scheifele had already played like half a period, whatever it ended up being at the Four Nations. Thomas Harley comes in. What do you make of that decision for them to bring the exact 8? Not that they were necessarily bad at the Four Nations by any means, but it feels like a lot of them just got in based off merit that they were on that team and maybe not the play that they've had this season.
Hockey Canada's got itself into trouble when they're too loyal. You saw this in 2006 when they were overly loyal to the 2002 team, and it cost them dearly, and it kept Sidney Crosby off the roster. Honestly, Liam, I look at this and I say, Doug Armstrong, Don Sweeney, Jim Nill, Kyle Dubas, Ryan Getzlaff, Julien Brisebois all sort of looked at this back end and said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This is the one that, took us through the Four Nations. The proof is in the pudding. As much as, there was noise around Evan Bouchard, noise around Jacob Chikrin, some noise around Matthew Schaefer as well. I think they said, like, look, it's not broken. Let's not try to fix something just to say, oh, we've got some new blood in there. That's what it felt like to me.
But even with like Harley, for an example, like even last year when they needed the injury replacement at the Four Nations, like was he even their first call, or was he just the only guy who was like, yeah, I'm not like in Cabo, I'll come swing by and give you some minutes.
And then he became like one of their most distinguished defenders, right? Like that was like the debutante's ball, the coming out party for Thomas Harley. Like I would have liked to have seen them mix it up a little bit and, maybe swap out the Colton Parayko for someone else. Yeah, I would have, but it's not to the point where I think it's really egregious what they've put together here. Like nothing on that back end screams like, it should, nothing on this back end really, put it this way, nothing offends me. Like I don't look at this and go like, oh, come on. Like, how do you like even the Matthew Schaefer thing? Like he hasn't even played a full season in the NHL. And his dad, gave us the quote of the year. And I'm going to paraphrase him here. He said, like, does he have to do all these things? Can't he just be an 18-year-old for a couple of weeks? I don't know about you guys, but I've never heard a hockey dad talk like that. Does my kid have to go to the Olympics? Can he just be an 18-year-old? Can he just like, wow, what a breath of fresh air that was coming from Matthew Schaefer's dad. But yeah, nothing really offends me on that.
Well,
that
and that's another
and
one.
And you know what? Like, look, like Cale Makar's getting the full 2 minutes of every power play.
Yeah.
So we can grouse about Evan Bouchard all we want. We can grouse about Jacob Chikrin all we want. He's not giving that power play time. No way. Nor should he.
And I think, again, we're splitting hairs here. And I joked on DFO Live today. I'm like, listen, that's why we're all here. That's why there's however many hundred people watching the show. We
Yeah.
love the debate. We love to decide, was this guy this much better than this guy? But like at the end of the day, Canada is or isn't going to win gold, probably on the back of their goaltending. And if the big dogs come through in big moments, like that's all it ever is. Look at 2010. Sidney Crosby scores. If Sid doesn't score, we are sitting here debating a bunch of third and fourth line stuff, but like Sid scores, non-conversation. Four Nations, Connor scores. It's the greatest accomplishment for Canada in a decade plus, right? Like it's going to come down to the big dogs.
You know what's interesting about the about Team Canada this time around, and it sort of evolved this way, even going back to Sochi. Like Sochi, that was coming off like the disappointment of 2006 in Italy, and just like everything went horrendously. They were overly loyal to the 2002 team, etc. You know, Hockey Canada's philosophy evolved, changed, however you want to describe it. Instead of we're going to build a team and stick with that team, the philosophy turned from that into skill adapts, and we're just going to get the best players. Like there's no like one magic formula. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But that was the one that was really successful in Sochi. But it seems now Hockey Canada, and Doug Armstrong said this, like these aren't, he was asked like, are these the best, you know, are these the best 25 hockey players that Canada has? And he said, this is the best team we could put together. So it's like, it's getting away from that skill adapts. Oh, you're a first line winger on your NHL club team. Yeah. You're a fourth line winger now here on this one. And the skill would just adapt. Oh, you normally play 25 minutes at center. Yeah. Now you're playing third pairing wing. That's what you're going to do because skill adapts. Seems like that's gone. They're back into team building.
There's something interesting I found with this team, and it's a conversation I haven't really understood. So, and I'm not discrediting Devon Toews and Cale Makar. They are an elite pair, and they both deserve to be on this team 100%. And it's understandable why Devon Toews is on this team. He plays so well with Cale Makar. But why is that not the same treatment with Connor McDavid when it comes to Zach Hyman and even Ryan Nugent-Hopkins? You mentioned Doug Armstrong said it's about team building. It's like, well, you've got probably the best trio in the league who are all Canadian, and neither of McDavid's wingers make this team. Why do you think it went that way?
I have a sort of rule. If I'm going to add someone, I've got to take someone off. Mm-hmm. Right? Like I know a lot of people have gotten really famous by doing I can't believe that this guy was left off the team. Oh, you have to make room for this guy. This guy's got to be on the team. And I always want the follow to be like, okay, I'll listen to it, but then who's off? Right? Like who do you remove? And I don't know, when you look around Connor McDavid and you look at the people that could be playing wing around him, who would you remove? Who would you take off? Like these are excellent hockey players. Like we were saying about, Mark Scheifele. Like Mark Scheifele plays for how many countries? Right? A ton. Yeah. There's just no room with Canada. And Zach Hyman plays for how many countries? There's just not room here. I know that like someone like Robert Thomas hasn't had the best of all possible seasons, but how many countries is Robert Thomas? Seth Jarvis, Sam Bennett, who we just talked about too. Like how many other countries did these guys play for? Again, if we're putting one on, we got to take one off. That's my rule. So who we taking off?
I think it's Stone, who's sat right next to Connor McDavid on this chart in front of us right now. And I understand who Mark Stone is and all that, but like he did struggle with a bit of the pace at the Four Nations, I thought too. But he has had a good season to his credit as well. But even like Anthony Cirelli, for example, like he's not had the greatest of seasons, I wouldn't say. And you have two centermen there who are on the outside looking in. Like I feel like that's who could have gone off instead of. I'm picking Hyman, by the way. That's who I would take if I was new.
Yeah, no, I get it. The thing about this roster, like, first of all, Canada has enough players that can score.
Yes.
Right. This isn't going to be one of those like, oh, they didn't bring it out. Like they have enough firepower that they can score. So the question becomes then, if we're not going to bring you in for scoring, what are you going to do? What are you going to bring us? Like we know what Tom Wilson's going to bring. And then it's a bunch of guys too. And Mark Stone is in this conversation. Does this not look to you like it's a combination of Hart Trophy winners and Selke Trophy candidates? These are guys that are all in the conversation for the Selke Trophy, and now there's a new one in Nick Suzuki. And at times, you make flirtations with Bo Horvat around that trophy. but like Mark Stone, Sam Reinhart, Anthony Cirelli, Brandon Hagel, Mitch Marner, Nick Suzuki, like these are all Selke guys, and Macklin Celebrini, like, let's be honest here. Macklin Celebrini didn't get on this team because he's top 5 in scoring. It helped, but what put him over the top was he's a 200-foot player. Oh, by the way, he's not a 200-foot player in the Olympics. He's a 197-foot player. I'm dying for John Cooper to say it. We're looking for the best combination of 197-foot players we can find. And that Cooper would do with that little cherub smile, that little cheeky smile that he does. That's what they're looking for. Mm-hmm. Like I look at this and I say, this is a lineup that screams, give me as many Selke Trophy candidates as you can get.
Yeah, and again, I think that's fair. And like I said, we're splitting hairs here. One more, very, very quickly before we let you go, because it's going to be a big part of our conversation when we go away from the Olympics. What do you make of the Andrew Mangiapane stuff? The rumblings that his agent can look for a trade, the relationship, all of that stuff. Like, he's back on the second line today. They're clearly open to giving him one more crack at fitting in here.
You got to give him a crack. Your solutions are always best solved internally. But this one has not been a fit. Not to say that it can't be a fit somewhere else with Andrew Mangiapane, but with the Oilers, for whatever reason, it is just not a fit. I think we're probably looking, I think we all know where this one is most likely heading.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so as well. Jeff, appreciate your time. Oh, Liam.
Do I have time for one quick one? Yeah, I think it's a funny angle. So Sam Bennett obviously didn't make this team. We talked about it. And it was tweeted out there that Anthony Cirelli was basically John Cooper's pick. Do you think there's any part of the Battle of Florida that was like put into this decision at all? Because Sam Bennett's resume too of like this season of like no Barkov, no Kachuk, and he's having a career year. And then you also have the comments from Armstrong being like, look at Jordan Binnington's resume. It's like, well, Sam Bennett just won the Conn Smythe. What do you make of that?
I don't think that I understand. Like, normally I would snuggle up on the grassy knoll with a conversation like this. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll put on the tinfoil hat. Let's go, Liam. Brad Marchand's on this team. Like there's one of the biggest quote unquote rats in the NHL, and one of the public enemy number ones of the Tampa Bay Lightning. If it was the land the Panthers forgot, then I might put some stock in it here. But no, I can't put it this way. I can't see, although we've seen it at the Hockey Hall of Fame, I can't see someone putting their personal reputation on the line at as an enormous event as you're going to get in the Olympics just to try to settle a grudge. I'll tell you what, though, and we saw this with we saw this with like the Oilers and the New York Islanders. Right? When they would have to mix in Canada Cups and the room was split. It's part of the great tradition of you leave it all aside, right? Like it was, we've seen this happen in the dressing rooms. I remember Peter Stastny talking to me about this in the 1976 Canada Cup. Like they lose to Canada and Czechoslovakia's got an incredible team. And he told me, he's like, nah, man, the room was split. On the one side was Czechs, on the other side was Slovaks, and we did not mix. He goes, it was bad. It was tough. So when I look at like teams that don't like each other on the ice in the NHL, I always think back like, there's some like real hatred that we've seen before and guys putting it aside to make something happen. I can't see John Cooper being that frivolous with his reputation just to settle a grudge. But I do like the way you think, Liam. I will say that about you. I do like the way you think.
I'm going to choose to believe that's what happened.
Jeff,
sure.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Thank you for popping on. As always, we appreciate it. No grudge with the analysis you gave us.
Awesome. Thanks, boys. Have a great 2026 to all your listeners, all your viewers, and all their families as well. Be well.
Thanks, Jeff.
Jeff Merrick from The Sheet had a great interview with Don Waddell earlier this week that you can go check out on the Daily Faceoff YouTube. Remember the big Yegor Chinnikov deal we were breaking down earlier in the week, Liam.
Yeah, I remember he was an Oiler for 8 minutes.
We made him an Oiler for 8 minutes. Yeah,
it was special.
Okay, let's keep cruising along. We got a couple of comments here that I want to get to. Like, first off, we're back on our old streaming platform because we're doing the shows at home, which, as we've talked about, means we get to see the Facebook comments. And we had someone, Nick, brutal picks. Yeah, just terrible. They're basically an AHL roster that they picked. Like, no matter how strongly you believe that Zach Hyman should be there or whatever, you can't call these picks brutal. Like, these are still 14 of the best 17 Canadian forwards in the league, 8 of the best 10 Canadian defensemen in the league. I don't, Binnington is maybe like an outlier in all this, but like, we're splitting hairs. Like I said with Jeff, the difference, and like, I know Doug Armstrong said like Connor Bedard's injury didn't factor in here, but like, maybe it did a little bit. Maybe they sat there and were like, you know what? Connor Bedard at 95% just isn't going to give us what Bo Horvat at 100% is going to give us.
I agree to an extent. Like, there's always going to be, like, when you name these rosters, USA, Canada, kind of the big ones, because they have so many players to pick from. There's going to be guys who are left off, and it's always just going to lead to a debate. But I just think this blue line kind of sucks. I really do. In comparison to, like, Perico's not been very good this season. I think Thomas Harley is maybe one of the most overrated players in the NHL. And I'm not even petitioning for Bouchard to necessarily be on this team, but I just think he's better than some of these guys. I think Chychrun's better than some of them too. And that's where it like leaves you underwhelmed of like Jordan Binnington makes his team and Doug Armstrong says, well, look at his resume. Okay, well, he's literally the worst goalie in the NHL this season. So his resume doesn't look very good right now. And you tuck him and you tuck a defenseman off your team as well. And that's why I want to test Jeff. I forgot about this, but I'm just going to start leaning to the side of like, I would like Canada to be represented by a neutral party. I don't really want these teams to be NHL teams to be involved. And that is part of my Oilers hominess. I understand that, but like, I just think there was some good players left on this team, and I don't think Anthony Scheifele should have made this team, because what if you need a face-off one at the end of the game? You have Sidney Crosby on this team. Like, I don't understand that. We need a shut-down line. You have the best players in the world. They can shut down whoever they want, whenever they want, and I just don't like that side of things. But the team's good still. They'll probably win every game and win a gold medal, and it won't even matter.
And listen, you know enough about me personally, Liam, to know how I feel about this. I'm house sitting Amber's parents' dog, who wants absolutely nothing to do with me 23 hours of the day. For some reason, back-to-back days, when I've been doing this show, DFO Live, dog doesn't care. Can you hear her whining? She's just sitting next to me whining. Amber can be calling her out of the room, and this dog is right here next to me whining.
I cannot hear the dog. But okay. Is Amber coming to get the dog?
I don't know where my wife is. Again, this is the beauty of at-home shows. Whatever. There was a comment that I read right before I did the lead today that had me dying laughing. Where was it? I want to pull it back up again. Nugent Hopkins got snubbed. No. Whatever. I'm never gonna find it. I thought it was very, very funny, but regardless, big shout out to our guy Jeff. Mm-hmm. Rusty said Tyler hit the gym. Lifting heavy shit is good for you. Yeah, listen, no doubt that it is good for you, but just it's not really my thing.
Do you
Oh, sorry. Here it was. Oh, Mangiapane snubbed.
Snub from what? The press box tonight. Is it okay? So I was on the Sauce this morning too, and they asked me we talked about the roster, and they said name a player from each kind of the three positions: forward, defense, goaltender, who you would replace, and what player you would replace. So I said I would bring on Hyman, and I think I said I would take off Anthony Cirelli just because again they have so many centers. I don't really know why he's on the team.
I agree with you. Like
I don't get it.
What Jeff just said about like Bo Horvat kills penalties. If you need a big face-off win, you put Bo Horvat out there. Like, okay, then we don't. Anthony Cirelli redundant. Also, I joked about this on DFO Live. Liam, if you're up a goal with 3 minutes left in the game, do you really think John Cooper is going to be like, sorry, Sidney Crosby, park it, buddy. Anthony Cirelli's getting this one. What?
Yeah, I just don't get it. Nick Suzuki's one of the best two-way players in the league as well.
Yeah. He
should just be taking that spot. Cirelli being on this team, I don't know. It just seems like each guy got a pick, and John Cooper's pick was Cirelli. But I would take him off. I would take off, Aaron, if you go to the blue line, if we have that one too, I would take off Thomas Harley, and I would have Jacob Chychrun on this team.
Yep.
I just don't. I don't know how Thomas Harley made this team again. And the goaltending is obviously easy. Binnington, I can't believe it. Well, I can believe it. But it should be Mackenzie Blackwood. He's been the best goalie in the league, or one of at least. Mm-hmm. What would you do?
Liam, if you would have had me write down the two changes I'd make before you talked, Chychrun for Harley, Hyman for Cirelli would have been my 2. Like, again, I just feel like what's a more likely outcome here? If we're about to go into, let's call it the 3rd game of the round robin for Canada, although I think that one's against France, but like, just hear me out on this. If we're about to go into the 3rd game of the round robin for Canada, and it's like, all right, they need to win this game tonight for whatever reason, whether it's like to avoid USA in the quarters or like whatever, they need to win game 3 of their round robin. What's the more likely scenario here? That we're talking about a Canada team that is coming up short on our expectations of them because they don't have enough guys who can win faceoffs and kill penalties? Or are we talking about no one can click with Connor McDavid? The top 6 isn't producing. We need someone up there who can click with McDavid. Like, that's way more likely than a scenario where we go like, oh boy, they miss how Cirelli looks in the D zone. Like, no, I do think a big part of this, as much as it's not just John Cooper banging his fist on the table, if Anthony Cirelli plays for the Columbus Blue Jackets, he's not on this hockey team.
Yeah.
And again, people love to look back on, and maybe this is not quite accurate because Sam Bennett just won the Calder or the Conn Smythe Trophy and didn't make the team. But like, I think if the Oilers have a Stanley Cup in one of the last 2 years, Zach Hyman's probably on this team because that's how Hockey Canada operates. But like, why Zach Hyman's not on this team? Like, even the Bedard thing, the dude's on pace for 116 points before he got injured. The fact we're leaving off a guy who's on pace for 116 points is crazy, but I can at least like walk my way through that explanation. You're bringing Devon Toews. You're not bringing Zach Hyman. You nailed it when you framed the question to Jeff. Like, Zach Hyman should be an Olympian, and I feel sad that Zach Hyman's not an Olympian.
Yeah. I just don't get it. I really don't understand that side of it, of how McDavid just doesn't get the treatment. And it's just there's this thought process throughout the NHL, and we've been guilty of it too. But I think once you actually watch McDavid, he doesn't just fit with anybody. You can't just put someone with Connor McDavid and it just works. Like, there's certain players that do it. And the flip that has happened to Connor McDavid's season when he was put with Nugent Hopkins and Zach Hyman is unbelievable. He's like rolled back the years, and it's not like he was falling off a cliff by any means, but he just found form that he had like 2 or 3 years ago, and we were unsure if he would be able to get back to that 150 point range, which I understand is an incredible rate for any player, and it's difficult to get to multiple times in your career. But I just think it's very disrespectful to do that and then be like, oh, all these Tampa Bay players need to be on because they made the Stanley Cup final like 3 years ago. It's like, okay, well, what have you done for me lately? You've just keep getting eliminated.
Again, they point to Jordan Binnington and are like, look at his resume. He won a Stanley Cup like 8 years ago, and we're talking about the guy. Like, I know he played great in overtime of the Four Nations. Before that, there was debate on whether or not you even start the guy, because in every other game he played, he gave up a goal where you were like, ooh, that was shitty. I'm happy Logan Thompson's there. He will absolutely be this team's starting goalie. But yeah, I mean, like, Anthony Cirelli has 22 points in 34 games here. What are we talking about?
Can you pull up his defensive numbers? I'd be very curious to see those. But obviously, we haven't really spoke about Evan Bouchard not making this team. I don't think either of us are very surprised that he didn't. I do think he is a underrated player around the league, but I also know that the highlights people see are some of the bad mistakes he makes. But I think those have kind of fallen out of his game the last couple of months, and it was just a bad start to the season when basically the entire team was playing bad. But I don't think he should be the first call up to this team. I do think it should probably be Jacob Chychrun. I guess it also depends who necessarily falls out. If it's Cale Makar that hypothetically, and knock on wood, hopefully this doesn't happen, gets injured, then sure, maybe it is Evan Bouchard. And I think Doug Armstrong did state that as well. He's like, we don't necessarily have a list of players who are going to get called up in a certain order. It is kind of based off like skill set and everything. So we'll see what happens there. But I do think Bouchard should be regarded as quite a big snub to this team, along with Chychrun, and then obviously Scheifele being the third one as well.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, Chychrun's the guy for me without a doubt. Quickly, because I want to say this before I forget. Corey Masisak from The Athletic is reporting Devon Toews' wife is expecting their 4th child, and it's a February 2nd due date. And Devon Toews said he is not leaving his wife until the baby is born. Says he hasn't talked to Hockey Canada about it. Didn't think he needed to. That's also very funny that he was like, yeah, I'll just whatever. I'll call in the day before and be like, hey, I'm not coming.
Yeah.
But like,
Wild.
there's a world where like Devon Toews actually isn't even available.
Which will be a very interesting wrinkle in all of this. We'll see what happens there. I mean, credit to her. You probably shouldn't leave your pregnant wife to go off to the Olympics.
She's made it through the first 3. She'll be fine.
Oh,
he got
this
a gold
is
medal
third.
to win. It's his 4th.
Fourth. Okay, interesting layer to all of this. I want like they must know.
Yeah. Well, now they do. I mean, whatever. I also people and like listen, we got a couple of comments here that like from Ken. If you want a bronze medal, then take Nurse and Bouchard, aka the Boo brothers. He then followed it up and said that definition applies to the Soilers. Liam, Ken, get down to the comedy club, buddy. What are you doing in our comment section? These are this one right here, the Boo brothers, Mount Rushmore of funniest things I've ever read personally. Anyways, I think a lot of this and the people who are like Bouchard can't be on the team have. Then I would love for anyone in the chat who's talking about Evan Bouchard being bad defensively, whatever. Have you watched Thomas Harley yet this year? Have you watched Colton Parayko this year? Have you watched Drew Doughty this year? Like, because Evan Bouchard's clips go viral because he plays for a major market Canadian franchise and he's been to back-to-back Stanley Cup finals, everyone loves to jump to conclusions about the guy. I mean, I don't know, man. You go back, Jay Fresh, the analytics guy on Twitter, he put out or he reintroduced something he did last year, immediately following the Four Nations. He did a fan poll for Canadian fans, and you had to vote yes or no based on the Four Nations if you want that player to be on the Olympic team. And it was something like 32% voted yes for Doughty. 15 or 20%, I think, might have voted yes for Parayko, a super low number for Sanheim. And it's all these guys who like have the reputations of being high-end defensive defensemen in the NHL. And, oh yeah, these guys are trustworthy, blah, blah, blah. Oh, Drew Doughty won a Stanley Cup 13 years ago. You need him on the team. And like, if Drew Doughty's your 8 because you want him there for the vibes, I don't give a shit. But like, it's a bunch of people who don't watch these guys play all that often. And then when they watch them at the Four Nations, everyone went, oh my God, these guys are terrible. And then a year goes by, you forget about that hockey you watched because you watched 20 Evan Bouchard turnover highlight reels or whatever the fuck you want to call them. And it's like, well, Bouchard sucks defensively. You got to put the other guys on. Like, it's just too many people. And this is where I like to use the term idiots, who just view defense the same way they viewed it when they played Pee-wee hockey 20 years ago. And it's like a defenseman is someone who cross-checks a guy in front of the net and is the biggest player on the team. That's defense. No. Defense is getting the puck out of your end. And when you have forwards as skilled as Canada's are, I want defensemen who can get them the puck as efficiently as possible. I don't want a big bruiser who's just going to cross-check a guy in front of the net and then get walked on a 3-on-2 that turns into a 2-on-1 or makes a bad decision at the offensive blue line. Like, I don't want any of that. I want guys who can pass the puck. I want guys who can move the puck. I want guys who are a little bit more dynamic. Like, I don't know. I just think it's a little annoying the way people view what defense is and the way people just view Parayko and Sanheim and Harley as these guys. Oh, they're miles better than Evan Bouchard. Why? Because they're big?
Yeah, I think that is why people think about it. There's a funny one here. Connor puts in, it's like funny how people bring up Binnington's playoff performance from 7 years ago, but ignore Evan Bouchard from the past couple of years. And then also one from Kevin saying Bouchard did this to himself. He sucked so bad the first 2 months that they can't get over that. Okay, Bouchard was not great to start the season. The entire team was bad. But this also can't be true when you look at Colton Parayko. It's not been good all year. And Binnington, he's just like, clearly they just didn't want to take Bouchard, and they thought the team that they had last year was just reliable. And fair enough, like I understand it, they ended up winning. But how the power play, can you correct me if I'm wrong? I feel like it started incredibly hot at the Four Nations, but then quickly like faded out. It wasn't as dominant as we all thought it was gonna be. Is that correct? Am I remember it correctly?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Evan Bouchard is the best power play defenseman in the NHL statistically, and they're just not taking him.
Yeah.
I just think it's very interesting layer, and it's just he's a controversial player, and I understand why, but I just think it's a bit disrespectful, and also too like the turnover stats. Like people all look at that. Didn't you look at it yesterday? He has fewer turnovers than Makar.
Yeah, turnovers are not a good measure of how good you are defensively. I mean, Like Evan Bouchard's going to turn over more pucks than Matthias Ekholm or Ty Emberson because Evan Bouchard's the guy who is getting the puck out of the zone and making plays. And it's the same debate this fan base couldn't get over, 13 years ago with Taylor Hall. And it's like, oh, that Taylor Hall just turns over the puck too much. And it's like, yeah, because he has the puck on his stick more than everyone. Like, go look at who leads the. And also, first off, the NHL's turnover stat is generally garbage. It's not tracked all that well. But like, go look at the guys who do lead the league in it, and it's like a who's who of good offensive players. Like, I don't know, man. I think people just they believe what they believe. Like, the people who hate Evan Bouchard, Liam, they're gonna hate him until the day the Oilers win the Stanley Cup, and then they're gonna say shit like, "Well, you won't be able to repeat with a guy like Bouchard." Like, you're talking to a wall when you try to argue with these people, and you and I see it, right? Like when we put our clips out there and they're pro Bouchard, like, I don't know.
Yeah, it is. It really is what it is at the end of the day. So
Who
we'll
the
see what
fuck is this
happens.
guy? I wish I could clip in Bouchard low effort clips so bad right now. Do it. Use any, try to be creative. Spend an hour. Go clip a bunch of Bouchard low effort plays. And you know what I'm going to do? In the amount of time it takes you to do that, I'm going to go find 6 or 7 clutch playoff goals that are the reason the Oilers made back-to-back Stanley Cup finals, you fucking donkey. Get out of here. Stop watching the show. There's over 1,000 other people watching. I legitimately do not want you watching our show anymore.
Hell yeah.
Gone. Bye-bye.
There was something else I wanted to bring up. I cannot remember exactly what it was. That's okay. That is okay.
That's whatever. Colton Parayko this year at 5-on-5 is -7, by the way. Evan Bouchard is, let me just quickly go grab the number here.
+2.
Yeah, like, what are we doing here? He's +4, actually.
Oh, sorry. My apologies, Evan.
Yeah, come on. Dial it in. Oh, man. Yeah, whatever. I got a little pissed off at that guy because I just think it's just whatever.
Thanks for subscribing, though.
Well, you obviously don't know what you're talking about, and then they come in here and just say shit like Evan Bouchard puts in no effort, and it's like, what are we talking about? Yeah, +4, such a beast. Yeah, name me the defensemen who you think are better than him, and they probably have worse numbers than him. Like, what are we doing here? Also, Zach Hyman in the last 3 seasons amongst Canadian forwards, Liam, is 4th in goals, despite playing fewer games than everyone else in the top 10. How about that?
It's been impressive. He should have been on this team. I actually thought, I really did think he was going to make it. I thought there was quite a bit of buzz around him this past week as we were building up to this announcement. But I kind of realized also too, what did you make of the way they announced it?
I mean, just having those kids on the screen, it was a little weird.
I was really thrown off by it. I didn't know that's what they were gonna do, obviously, but it was different. It was different.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. I was just sitting there. I was doing my live reaction thing where I was just watching the names pop up, and I was like, "Oh damn, this guy's on the team! Oh my god, Bo Horvat's on the team!" Like, that's all I was doing. But all right, sorry. I just read. We didn't get our bets over to Aaron. We got to send him.
No, I just saw that too. So when next time you go on our little rant, I'll find one for myself.
All right. The last kind of note I have on this whole thing was kind of what Jeff said. We're there are guys that I legitimately feel very, very bad for. I feel really bad for Mark Scheifele, that he is a hockey nut, a guy who lives and breathes the sport. He's having an awesome year. He did everything in his power to make this team. And also, this is probably his last chance to play Olympic hockey. A guy who, if they would have had all their shit sorted out in one of the last 2 Olympics, he's probably there at one point. And I'm not totally closing the door on Mark Scheifele at 36 making the team, but let's be a little realistic here. I don't feel bad that Matthew Schaefer didn't make the team. I don't feel bad that Connor Bedard didn't make the team because those guys in all likelihood are going to get to play in 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 Olympics in their lifetime. They will get theirs. Even if Nick Suzuki didn't make this team, I would have been all right, he'll get on the next one, whatever. And also it's Nick Suzuki. I do legitimately feel bad that a guy like Mark Scheifele isn't going to be going to the Olympics because it's going to kill him. Even Zach Hyman, man, I feel bad that Zach Hyman would have had an honest chance at doing this, and he's not going to be there. And this is probably, again, his one and only opportunity to have it.
Yeah, it is disappointing that those kind of guys aren't going to have the opportunity, like you said. And those are the guys you do. have a soft spot for, I guess you could say. And especially when there's just guys who we've spoke about who we don't think should be on this team because of how they've played this season. So yeah, I agree with you. It is disappointing in that side. And I do think too, like, there's just that they've all had opportunities taken away from them. And like Jeff said, he's like, Wilson would have made this team in whatever year he said, 2022, I think he said. So yeah, I thought that was an interesting point from him, because a lot of the staff as well is from that group. So yeah, it's an interesting layer in all of us.
And again, I'll say this one more time. No such thing as a bad pick, too.
No.
Like, again, these guys are all so damn good at hockey. And like I said with Jeff, like, if we get to a point where we're like, oh, man, Canada lost because of one play Travis Sanheim made, then, like, maybe I'll eat my words. But, like, they're going to, in all likelihood, be in a very close silver medal or semifinal game. And that will come down to a big goal or a big save. And in all likelihood, they're going to be in a very close gold medal game that will come down to a big save or a big goal. Like, that's what all of these things have come down to over the last number of years. So I don't know, over the last number of best on best tournaments, I should say. At the end of the day, are the 13 minutes Cirelli is going to give you, are they that much better or worse than the 13 minutes Mark Scheifele would have given you? No, probably. It's probably the same. Like, we're splitting hairs here. But again, that's why we like debating this shit. Like, that's the reason we're here. There's the reason why people are watching the show, right?
I mentioned it the other week. There's a funny play that was just never in the conversation. And I know he also said he shouldn't be in the conversation, but Morgan Geekie is just scoring goals for fun, and no one ever brought him up. And I mean, I don't know if he was necessarily someone who should have, but I did find that funny that, like, hey, he's like one of the best goal scorers in the NHL, and he's just not involved in the conversation at all for Canada.
I feel like we're right back in our bag, Liam, because I'm so invested in everything the chat is saying to us right now. What is Tyler? This from Ken. Tyler, honestly, can you name 3 players that should be on Team Canada?
We did.
What?
We already did name
Scheifele,
3.
Hyman, Chychrun. There you go. There's 3 of them.
Yeah. I mean,
well, like, what's the question here?
You could probably name a full new roster. There's so many players to pick from. Bedard, Scheifele, Bouchard, like Schaefer. Like, what do you want? You know, you can keep going from that. There's a lot. The talent pool is massive, and good luck to them. I obviously will be cheering for Canada, but these conversations just sparked because there is so many good players to pick from.
Yeah. Sure, it may not make a difference, but it should be based on merit from DPAL. And again, like, I agree with you, but like, that's just where, again, we get into these conversations of like, do you just pick the 14 most skilled players and say, hey, they're going to figure it out? Or do you have to try build what you view as the best team with different guys who do different things for you? Like Jeff said, what are you doing if you're not scoring, right? You know what Tom Wilson's doing if he's not scoring. You know what Anthony Cirelli's doing if he's not scoring, to defend that selection a little bit. And I don't want to sound like I'm talking out of 2 sides of my mouth, because again, we've spent 45 minutes on this debate, all for me to now kind of sit here and be like, yeah, it's not that big of a deal. But like, at the end of the day, there's no bad picks, and I'll just keep hammering that home.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I quickly though, before we move on, how many Oilers do you think will be at the Olympics? So obviously McDavid, Draisaitl are both going. I would assume Ekholm obviously makes Sweden. Is there anybody like if David Thomas X make it, we'll call half of that.
We get
this pick. Someone like jokingly put Janmark. I don't think he would obviously make the team for Sweden, but if I'm not mistaken, he was slightly in the conversation for the 4 nations. But I could be wrong. Maybe that was Arvidsson and he ended up making the team. I don't remember exactly, but just 3, I think, are going to make it for the Oilers.
I think you're correct too. Like, Ekholm should be there because he was there at 4 nations. Like, yeah, Sweden has so many guys, so many good forwards who are going to make that team. Like, we're not talking about Mattias Janmark going for Sweden at all. Well, no, there's no Russians, so someone like Podkolzin obviously won't make it. So yeah, I think that's kind of it. Oh, someone said Szymanski.
Maybe.
Yeah, he'll probably be there.
Yeah, that's actually a good shout. Tendo. Yeah, interesting. Someone said too, I think it was Sean. He's like, I thought I saw something that Ekholm won't make Sweden. I think I saw something similar, but it was that he would maybe be one of the 7th or 8th defensemen, which seems a bit silly considering how well he's played this season. And even if he started in that spot, I think he would just work his way up.
Someone said, does Kapanen have an outside shot for the Finns? There are 36 Finnish. Oh, wow. There's actually not that many Finns in the NHL. Hey,
No, remember last year they had such a struggle to put a blue line together.
yeah. So there are 28 Finnish forwards this year in the NHL. I feel like Kapanen's not making it. Like you go Rantanen, Aho, Lehkonen, Lundell, Hintz, Tolvanen, Oliver Kapanen in Montreal, Eric Halla, Teuvo Teravainen, Eetu Luosterainen, Mikael Granlund. Like we're already at 12 there. They probably bring a guy like Capo Caco. They would. Oh, Line isn't available. He'll be close. Maybe he's their 14th forward. Honestly, now that I kind of say it out loud, he might be their 14th guy.
We have our resident Finnish listener, Yanni, is in the chat, and he says, I think Janmark won't make the Finnish team. So I'm going to take his word for it. We have a trade to announce.
Oh, we do have a trade to announce. Liam, you want it from the news desk of Liam Horrobin, a trade.
Trade alert. We have acquired, we being the Pittsburgh Penguins, have acquired Philip. They have acquired Philip Tomasino, the Flyers, sorry, for Igor Zamula, who we did talk about the other day from the Flyers. So a trade between the two Pennsylvania rivals.
Igor Zamula for Phil Tomasino, Flyers and Penguins doing a little swap. Second deal of the week for the Pittsburgh Penguins, who obviously acquired Igor Chinnikov earlier in the week. Chinnikov, Voronkov, one of the two. It's Chinnikov. All right, let's talk a little bit. Lance, this is the worst trade. Yeah, I mean, it's not the flashiest of deals here, and Liam made it sound like for a second the Oilers were acquiring someone. Levi, man, I got excited. Thought Mangi was gone. No, sir. Not only is Mangiapane not gone, he's all the way up. Let's talk a little bit about the game tonight. It is our game preview, and it's brought to you by Oodle Noodle. You can take advantage of the value menu deal and add 2 green onion cakes, 5 spring rolls, and 6 wontons to your order for just $2. Oodle Noodle is also proud to support Sports Central. 10% of in-store sales from their ginger beef box go directly to Sports Central for all of December, where you can donate your gently used sports equipment and help kids play at Sports Central. Lineup for tonight. Andrew Mangiapane is back in the top 6. They are giving him one more look. Top line stays the same. It's McDavid, Nuge, and Hyman. Second line, Draisaitl, Podkolzin, and Andrew Mangiapane. Roslovic on the third line with Janmark and Savoy. Henrique on the fourth line with Frederick and Jones. So Curtis Lazar, Liam, out of the lineup. Do you agree with that decision?
Strongly disagree. He literally was the reason the Oilers got their first goal in that game.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's fair. And we've seen Knoblauch do this a lot, obviously, with players scoring goals. Now we're seeing it with players getting an assist. I mean, I don't think it's fair to put Mangiapane back in the lineup after Lazar plays well and the bottom 6 finally has an impact. I actually don't mind the lineup itself based off how it's a bit spread out. Like Mangiapane does give you some upside in the top 6 for sure, if he can find anything close to what his game is supposed to be. But that third line's decent. Again, like I'm not biggest Janmark fan, but he was elevated to the second line the other day. So hopefully they can get a little bit. It's a good speed on that third line too. I do like that.
I would have sat Adam Henrique in this one. I think if you're in the mood to send messages to vets who are underperforming, throw Adam Henrique in the press box. Like Curtis Lazar, no one's going to argue against the statement of Lazar's been better than Henrique this season, right?
I wouldn't. No, I would definitely wouldn't.
I'm very, very surprised that Lazar came out of the lineup. I would have sat Henrique. Anyways, the third line, honestly, with the way he's moving, I would almost consider putting Max Jones up there over Janmark.
Well, so the Max has done well. We went over it a little bit yesterday, but I think he's been a decent little player for them. Draisaitl's paddle puts in the chat, Lazar going to stop trying to produce offense. Maybe. I misread that initially before I started reading it, but that's okay.
I don't even know what he's trying to say.
I thought he was saying like Lazar hasn't had much offense recently. He's like, okay, that's fair. He is a fourth line player and he contributed to a goal literally 2 days ago.
Yeah. Juliet is in and says Jones, Lazar, Kapanen would be a good line. I actually agree with that. You know why? And again, this goes back to our whole beef with the bottom 6, Liam. You know why it'd be a good line? Because they would have an identity. They would work hard and play physical. And like, that's all we're asking for here.
Yeah, exactly. That's what the Florida Panthers do. Like that fourth line, Gadjevic, JJ Greer, and whoever the other player, Nozek, I think, right? They're not special players, but they just work hard and play difficult against you. Draisaitl corrected himself. He said, when Lazar produces, he sits. Got it. Thank you.
Bullet says, what do you do if Mangi has a game, say a goal and an assist or something? Then you keep him in the top 6. Like, they're not doing this. Anyone, and this is where I think the trade talk gets a little bit like out of hand sometimes. They're not putting Andrew Mangiapane up there to boost his trade value. They're legitimately giving him a chance, one more look to try earn his keep on this team. Like, you want to sit there, and I did this whole rant yesterday, so I don't want to just regurgitate the same conversation, but like, if you want to sit and bitch about the opportunity, the fit, blah, 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 you know what? One more chance with Leon Draisaitl. Play like your career's on the line. We joked the other day, Calvin Pickard, every time his career's on the line, he goes and delivers a beautiful performance, and it makes you sit there and go like, oh, damn, I wonder what they're going to do in net. Like, if you're Mangiapane, go out there, hustle, play well, rip pucks on net. If you come out of this game with 4 shots on net and a point, you're going to stay there, and you just need to keep repeating good efforts, and like, you're going to be fine. He just needs to, again, maybe one last chance, but the idea that they're playing him just to like sit him, or sorry, just to boost up his trade value and trade him in 2 days, I think that's way out of line.
You don't need to do that anymore. There's just so much tape in the NHL. I mean, he would literally have to flip his entire season around to boost his trade value. At this point, he's worth nothing. Like, he's worth a mid-round pick at best. But at the end of the day, the Oilers have this guy who they need him to play well. Like, they need him to be good for them. They signed him for a reason. I still believe he'll get traded at some point, because I don't think he's happy either. But he asked for an increased workload. Here it is. I mean, you've had one all season and haven't done anything with it. So it's time for him to step up, I think, more than the Oilers to step up and help him.
Gorgeous George says, wrong, Tyler. Mangi himself said he wants out, so this is a move to increase value. No, the idea that Andrew Mangiapane, who chose Edmonton in free agency 4 months ago, is now all of a sudden sitting here and being like, wow, I hate it here. No, he just wants opportunity somewhere. He wants to play somewhere. He's recognized that it's not working so far in Edmonton, so he wants to go somewhere where it could potentially work and he can make meaningful contributions. My problem with that is that he's been given every opportunity in Edmonton to do it. But the idea that 3 months into this, while the relationship maybe isn't going great, the fact he's up in the top 6 is a sign that neither side of this wants to fully punt on it. Like, I could not disagree with you more, George. I maybe understand where you're coming from, but like, I don't think the Oilers are just wasting minutes in the top 6 on a guy who they know they're going to trade in 2 days. I don't buy it at all. And if Mangiapane scored 2 goals next to Leon Draisaitl tonight, it's not like some team's going to sit there. Like you said, Liam, they all have film on him. They all know how his first 40 games have gone. Him scoring 2 goals tonight is not going to make the Toronto Maple Leafs be like, you know what? Fuck it. Second round pick. Like, how do you think NHL teams are ran?
Yeah, it's not going to happen like that. D is in. The Bouchard, #1 Bouchard fan will call you D. I know you probably like that one. Mangiapane is not staying in the top 6. Roslovic is better than him, period. We all agree. That is a fact. There's no doubt about it. I just think they clearly don't trust Adam Henrique to be their third-line center right now, and they need to find some more offense from there. And I think having Roslovic play in the middle of the ice just allows him to get some more puck touches and hopefully provide a bit more offense. I do like that Savoy is playing alongside him tonight. I'm curious to see how that goes. And I mean, again, like Janmark doesn't provide much offense, but usually a pretty decent work ethic to his credit. So hopefully that line can work, because they just need consistency from that trio, from that third line, whoever it may be.
All right. A couple of things here. Some quick game notes. These are via Michael Menzies and his game day pre-scout. Tremendous article that goes up every game day on Oilersnation.com. The Edmonton Oilers beat the Boston Bruins back on December 18th. Boston hasn't won a game since then. They've lost 6 in a row, including a 2-1 overtime defeat at the hands of the Calgary Flames on Monday night. The Bruins have scored just 6 goals in their last 4 games, so not a great offensive attack. Edmonton 6-2-2 in their last 10 games against the Boston Bruins, but the Bruins have traditionally done well at Rogers Place. Edmonton has won just once in their last 5 home games against the Boston Bruins, with the last win coming on December 19th of last year. So before that, they'd lost 4 in a row at home to the Bruins. I saw a couple people in the chat, Liam, talking about who's starting tonight. Connor Ingram is going to be the netminder for the Edmonton Oilers on New Year's Eve, which again, I think is pretty telling. You have like you've said, like, don't go Pickard back-to-back. The numbers suggest that's a poor idea. I agree with you. I just think this is an interesting sign that, like, this is Ingram's job.
Yeah. It does feel like that. And I think what even makes this more interesting is the idea that Ingram can only play 10 games with the Oilers. Like they're, whilst he's on an emergency call up, that is, they can bring it up and call him back up eventually, obviously. But I think that it is very telling that they're just pushing him out there. He's also played really well, to his credit as well. And I don't think he deserves to sit out for 2 games in a row, despite what Calvin Pickard does. I think I would give maybe Pickard one more chance, whoever their next game even is. I'm not sure at this point, to be honest, but I think they'll just start splitting him a little bit here.
16 goals against in his last 5 games for Jeremy Swayman, whose plays kind of hit the shits a little bit. I mean, the team in front of him is also not doing well, so I kind of hesitate saying that, but he did allow 6 goals about a week ago to the Montreal Canadiens. So Ingram versus Swayman is your goaltending duo tonight. Liam, let's get to our Bet365 game day betting challenge. Shout out to Bet365. Download the app today. Use the promo code NATION, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Liam, betting challenge? I think we're all coming off losses against the Jets, eh?
Yeah, we all lost against the Jets because, when Max Jones and the second unit power play score goals, there's not really any of the bets, not many bets are hitting that night.
Yeah, no, the props usually aren't coming through. So here is my pick for tonight. Connor McDavid, 2 points, coming off a game where he was held silent. Only picked up an assist on the empty net goal by Zach Hyman, which kept his point streak alive, by the way. But I like McDavid to bounce back on home ice tonight and get back to that 2-point-a-game rhythm. I like the Oilers on the puck line. I like Zach Hyman to score simply for the narrative, Liam. I could see us coming off of this whole, should he have not been on the Olympics, this, that. He's just going to score, and we're going to get to have the conversation of like, all right, he should have been there. He should be going to Milan.
I should have thought about a all-Canadian snub bet tonight. Maybe that's something I'll do outside of the show. But I just went with a simple puck line, mostly because I forgot to send one to Aaron earlier. But I also do think the Oilers like to send their fans into a bit of a holiday excitement, I guess we can call it. New Year's Eve, they usually have fun games on New Year's Eve. So I could see this one being a puck line night, and it even adds into it the fact that you just said Boston hasn't won a game since the Oilers beat them. So I like that side of things too.
Let's take a peek into what Jay's doing tonight. Hello, Connor McDavid, 2+ points. Leon Draisaitl, 2+ points. Oilers money line, and Victor Arvidsson to score.
Jay.
Jay. Plus 1250 if he gets it. I mean, maybe Arvidsson in a little revenge game, sure. I also think we talked about this on, I think it was on ONR, Liam, how that whole thing of like, old Oilers always score against the Oilers. Every fan base ever thinks that happens to their teams.
Yeah, and it very rarely actually happens. Maybe someone can let us know. I can't remember the last time a former Oiler scored a goal against Edmonton. I'd have to go back and look. That would be a fun angle. Maybe I'll try and pull that up. I did actually, I know we're doing Bet365, but I did have our resolutions from last year and predictions from last year too. And we actually did okay.
Do you want me to excuse you? Yeah, something about the at-home shows, Liam. It's like 1 o'clock, and you're like, I gotta piss so bad.
I have to go to the bathroom so bad.
Hey, go before DJ gets here.
I'm going.
Okay, I'll talk to the chat for a little bit here, and then when Liam comes back, we're gonna revisit our New Year's resolutions from last year. I'm actually very, very excited to do this. Also, DJ is going to be running a little bit behind, so we'll get to him in a little bit. Arvidsson missed some time this year, by the way, but he's actually been playing really, really good with the Boston Bruins, which again goes to the conversation of like, how come every time a player comes to Edmonton, they're worse than they were anywhere else? And then the second they leave, they start producing again. Arvidsson, 7 goals in 28 games for the Boston Bruins, 15 points in that stretch as well. How about that Jari mask? Yeah, if you guys didn't see it, Tristan Jari dropped his mask for the upcoming season. He's finally got his Oilers one on and ready to go. Most recent revenge goal I could think of, Connor Brown versus Edmonton back on October 18th. You're right. Aaron dropped that in the chat. Yeah, when they played the New Jersey Devils, Connor Brown found the back of the net. So he's, again, that's another guy. He's having a great year out in New Jersey. He's looked awesome the couple of Devils games I've watched. He's been very, very noticeable. Easy work for you guys tonight. Well, it's a doubleheader tonight. We got Canada taking on Finland at the World Juniors, and then obviously Edmonton playing against the Boston Bruins. So it's a 2 TV night, no matter where you are. I'm assuming you're going to like a New Year's party or something like that. You're gonna need 2 TVs. Depressed Canadian. A lot of that quote. He dropped in a super chat, by the way, $10 for the Ben Stelter Foundation. So thank you very much. A lot of that quote, old teams scoring on you mentality started in the late 80s, early 90s when the dynasty was broken up and they'd face the Kings or Rangers. I mean, I love that. Obviously, wasn't around for that, but like, yeah, you're telling me no shit. Like Wayne Gretzky and Yari Curry would score on you when they came back to town. Those guys would score pretty much every single game. Final buzzer says the Edmonton market and coaching style isn't for every player. I get it. And listen, like, Jack Roslovic would be an example of a guy who came here and is way better than he was somewhere else. Vasily Podkolzin's another example. So it's not like the Edmonton Oilers strike out all the time, but let's again look back to who Vasily Podkolzin and Jack Roslovic were when the Oilers picked them up. Podkolzin's a guy who you kind of picked up off the scrap heap, right? Like Vancouver didn't want him anymore. They wished him away for a 4th round pick. Like, oh my God. Wish him away for a 4th round pick. He's still making $1 million this year, but like he's a reclamation project who came here and was like, I got to work my bag off to save my career. Did it. He's an established NHLer. He's going to make a lot of money now because of what he did in Edmonton. Look at Roslovic, guy who was hoping for a $4 or $5 million deal. A guy in Jack Roslovic who turned down a multi-year, multi-million-dollar deal from the Oilers on July 1 because he said, I'm going to get more money. Summer goes by. No one calls Jack Roslovic a second time. He's sitting there on night 1 of the season going, shit, I got to sign somewhere. Comes to Edmonton, and it's worked out beautifully. I just think, again, it hasn't been all bad for Edmonton and their tickets, but like the lottery tickets are working out way, way better than the expensive tickets.
Agreed. They are.
Liam, you're back. Thank you. Do you want to, let's do the resolution thing while we wait for DJ.
Okay. So I will read out yours first. Do you want me to just...
How did we do the segment? You went back and watched it. I have not gone back and watched it again.
Yeah, so we did 3 Oilers ones and 2 league ones. It kind of seemed like was the rules we were going with. We also did New Year's resolutions, which I'll get to those ones first. Your New Year's resolution for the Oilers was to get meaner. I think they tried to do that. I don't think it necessarily worked, but I think they definitely tried to do that. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think they did their best, but it's a little bit like the people who go to the gym all of January, then don't go in February. Like they did it when everyone was like, you got to do it. And then they kind of putts away. What were your resolutions for the Oilers?
My New Year's resolution for the Oilers was to continue to be aggressive in the market, which they did.
When they got Jake Wallman.
They got Wallman. They got Frederick. They just got Tristan Jarry, Roslovic, Mangiapane. I would say that's a good one. I think they succeeded on that side of things. Jay also gave us one, which was funny because it was a New Year's Eve episode, and obviously Jay doesn't join us for the at-home episodes, and he was just in his truck, and every time he talked, he just looked out the window so you couldn't hear what he was saying. I vividly remember that happening. His New Year's resolution was 900 goaltending, and the year ended with 900 goaltending. It really did.
He gets a partial win for that one. Also.
Yeah, oh God, partial win.
So then we also did predictions for the year.
We did that on the January 2nd episode. So maybe we can do our predictions on Friday, for example. Yeah. So these were yours. These were your predictions for the year. You did well. We actually both did the same. No, sorry, you got one prediction better than I did. You got 3. I got 2 out of the 5. Yeah. So the ones you got wrong. You said the Oilers and Utah would make a trade, and you laid out a path of the blue liners that Utah had and how many they had, and the Oilers needed one. They obviously went and got Jake Wallman.
But wait, Edmonton and Utah did make a trade, Liam.
Oh, they got Connor, but okay, fair enough. But okay, so you got 4 right. 3.5. Yeah, you're not going to want to eat this W on this one. Stuart Skinner gets extended after a successful playoff run was one of yours. You said they would sign Connor McDavid, Evan Bouchard, and then move on to Stuart Skinner after the Oilers win the Stanley Cup. Didn't pan out.
Whiffed on that one. Anyways, what were the other 3 I got right?
Really impressive, actually. You said the New York Islanders would drop off and become a lottery team in the back half of the season. They ended up obviously winning the lottery, which is funny. You said Connor Brown would sign a multi-year deal with a new team.
New Jersey.
Yes, you did. We did joke that it would be the Seattle Kraken. It obviously ended up being the New Jersey Devils. This last one is a good one. You predicted that Mikko Rantanen or Mitch Marner would end up playing for new teams this season. They obviously both ended up playing for new teams, which so you got the Rantanen one with the trade would have come, what would that be, 2 or 3 weeks after?
Yeah.
So for me, the ones I got wrong, I said Martin St. Louis would get fired because the Montreal Canadiens rebuild was going nowhere. That was wrong. The other one I got wrong was that the Oilers would have at least a 10-game win streak. I don't think they got anywhere close to a 10-game win streak. I think they got a 6-game win streak once, if my information is correct. The other one I got wrong was Connor McDavid, this is my boldest one, would break Wayne Gretzky's assist record in the Stanley Cup final, which was 10 assists. The Oilers, I'm not sure they even scored 10 goals in the Stanley Cup final, so that one did not pan out for me. The ones I got right, I said the Ottawa Senators would make the playoffs, so that was a good one. And the other one I got right was Evander Kane would be traded in the summer so that the Oilers could make room for the signings they needed to make. So 2 out of 5. You got 3.5 out of 5. We'll call it.
I think I deserve point. Like Edmonton, Utah.
You specifically pointed out the defenseman. That's why I'm not giving you the full mark.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Wow, I'm surprised I did. So the Rantanen one, you're right. Like 3 weeks later, he would have been dealt, and he ended up playing for 2 new teams before the year. So someone said Ingram wasn't traded. Yes, he was. The Edmonton Oilers acquired him in a trade for future considerations at 50% retained, or at $800K retained, or whatever the hell it was.
Let us know if you've got some predictions for the new year as well. If you've got a New Year's resolution that you want the Oilers to follow. We'll probably do it. I would think Friday. We can probably do some predictions.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do Friday.
Yeah, let's do Friday. We'll do new resolutions and new predictions for the Edmonton Oilers in the NHL season. Yeah, all right. We might still be joined by DJ here. We're gonna give him a few more minutes. He was doing an interview for What Chaos, so he's running a little bit behind. Anything else, Liam? World Juniors tonight. I touched on it briefly. Canada Finland should be a hell of a game.
Yeah, that'll be a really good game. The Finnish team is a lot stronger than I anticipated them to be honest. There's a couple. I next year's age group isn't very good, to be honest. But they've done a good job of piecing things together this time around, and it's been a very exciting World Juniors, like we spoke about it yesterday. The Latvia game, which we both went for the puck line on 2.5, and
we went for the belt line.
Yeah, we did. Latvia scored with a second left to give us the 2.5 belt line. So that was really good. So I won the belt line and the regular puck line yesterday. So that was good. Right now, Slovakia really pushed the US the other day. They're playing Switzerland, I believe, as I'm trying to pull this up quickly. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of NHL games on right now too. Switzerland, wow, up 3-1 on Slovakia. So that's exciting. I realized I was just saying Latvia then, but yes, Switzerland up 3-1 on Slovakia. So that's good. But again, it's been a really fun World Juniors. I'm quite excited to see how tonight's games go on both sides of it, with the US playing Sweden. That's a huge game. A lot of talent on the Swedish team who isn't even drafted into the NHL yet. And then obviously Canada, Finland as well, which will be really good. I think Gavin McKenna has just solidified himself as the first overall, just because of how well he's actually playing. He scores a hat-trick against Denmark. I think he's been probably the most consistent player on Canada too. So he's doing really well for himself. I'm actually glad to see him have so much success, because there was just so much doubt about him, and I didn't think it was fair. Like the way having to adapt to play essentially against men in the NCAA, like he took a step and he took a risk, and people are criticizing him for it and being like, well, he went for the money. It's like, sure, I mean, it's probably a factor in it as well, but like he went because the NCAA is a better development path for him right now.
Can I read a take from a Flames fan? And I am like hand up cherry picking my response to this. Okay. So just let me do my thing. This one from Ken. Parekh will be MVP of the tournament. He also has been commenting about, oh yeah, watch Parekh score more goals for Canada. Liam, if he's the MVP of the tournament, he'd be joining an elite group that includes names like Jonathan Lekaramaki, Alexei Lafreniere, Ryan Poehling, Casey Middlestat, Jesse Puljarvi, and Dennis Godla. Come on, right?
I mean, I think Parak has done really well. I think he's having a good tournament, as he should. He should be in the NHL right now playing, but Calgary isn't. He's not playing well enough, I guess you could say too. So, Czech Cha Man said McKenna may not be Celebrini, but he's got good hands. Yeah, I don't think Gavin McKenna is going to be close to Macklin Celebrini. I do think this draft class has been a slightly overhyped for the sense of like these players are going to come in and change the league. I think it's a very, very good draft class. Something similar to what year was Draisaitl drafted? That was 2014, right?
Yes.
Well, like those top 4 or 5 picks are all just really, really good. And obviously Draisaitl's an elite NHL player, and I'm sure one of those guys could stand out. But like Sam Bennett is a really good player. Ekblad's a good player. Reinhardt as well. Like I think that's kind of how things will work out for this draft class. But it's a special group. There's no doubt about it.
I got one more Olympic take really, really quick here. Someone made another comment about how Mark Stone's going to be off the team. And I get what people are saying about the speed and all that. But I think it's very funny how it's like, oh my God, Connor Bedard was on pace for 116 points and they left him off the team. Mark Stone's on pace for like 114 points this year. So like, I don't know. He is having a good year. I think that's a part of it. Like he was there last year. He's a reliable defensive forward. I know he doesn't skate all that well, but the rink's only 196 feet this year. I'm like, again, that's what I'm not offended with anything Canada did. And I think if you want to nitpick about like whether or not Stone's on the team or not, at the end of the day, if he's too slow through the pre-tournament and through the round robin, they'll sit him.
Yeah, they will. And I said that he would maybe be my pick, and that was just to strictly replace Zach Hyman. Yeah. I do think he's earned his way onto this team as well. I think Oilers fans just hate him, and rightfully so, but he's a good player still. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, again, I do think it's funny, like the same people being like, God, Bowman and Armstrong just picked their guys and their favorites are the same people being like, no Doughty on the team. I hate that guy. And it's like, well, that's the same argument. Anyways, what are your New Year's plans tonight? We might wrap this bad boy up here.
My New Year's plans tonight, I have some family in town. So a lot of people staying with me right now. We will be doing an appetizers night, I think it is. So we all kind of make an appetizer. I am a terrible cook, but I know how to make some drinks. So I think I'm on the drinks side of things tonight. And then I'm going to try and mix in the World Juniors game, Finland, Canada, obviously. And then I mix in the Oilers game. And then also the grand finale of Stranger Things happens today. So I'm excited to see what happens. I really don't know which way Stranger Things is going to go, because the last 3 episodes didn't really give you anything, any indication. But it's a big event. I'm excited for all 4 things tonight. It's going to be a busy day.
Yeah, that's a great one. Well, Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to everybody in the YouTube chat as well. Aaron's got you all covered with pre and post game here on a New Year's Eve night. Oilers, Bruins, the game today. Aaron, who do you got on pre and post with you?
Oh.
Well, never mind.
Aaron definitely wasn't ready.
DJ says he's joining right now. Aaron, what do you got?
I think it's just me and Brett.
Oh,
all right. Well, let's wait for DJ. All right. Well, DJ will be on in a minute here. Of course, it makes sense to have our friend DJ being on the show because the Oilers are playing the Bruins tonight. DJ, our resident oil man down in Boston. So we'll get DJ fired up here in a couple of minutes. Just Aaron and Brett tonight. Someone said Aaron speaking from 2026. I like that.
I wrote a different kind of article, and we talked about it the other day of my Alec Regula stuff. But if you want to go check that out on Oilers Nation right now, it's just a bit of a breakdown, I guess, if you could say, of like where Alec Regula went during that game against Calgary. And I think I learned like a little bit more about him, to be honest, watching that game. I think the Oilers are pushing him too far in his minutes, which we've talked about. But I think one thing I really want him to focus on, and like I would encourage people who are listening to this and watching right now too, like watch him in the offensive zone. He, for whatever reason, plays with his head down so much, but when he gets his head up and he's actually scanning the ice a little bit, he's quite dynamic in a way, like he can attack guys and his feet are moving, but he's clearly just in part struggling to adapt to the quickness of the NHL, I think. And Dee mentioned it the other day too. He's like, he's barely played 50 games and 100%. But I'm not leading the ship for the Alec Regula fan club. I still think there's a long way to go. but he's done a good job. He did a better job than I thought he did against Calgary in some senses. He wasn't good by any means, but I think there was more upside to his game than I've maybe seen before.
So what I take from that, when you say, when his head's up, he's actually making good, correct plays with the puck. Like, there's a part of me there then, Liam, that just says you can see the type of player, you can see the potential that the Oilers see in him. It's just a matter of him getting more comfortable at the NHL level.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think too. And I think he just really has to step away from, and I don't know who's telling him this, and I would have to look and see if maybe more defensemen are doing this in the Oilers. Loves to get the puck off a face-off win and just rip it right away. And he's just getting blocked all the time. It's like, okay, but those plays are so poor. Like, shots from, I understand getting pockets to the net, but like, they still have to be valuable shots to the net. They can't just be getting hit. But like, yeah, I do believe in Alec Regula more than I have before. And I'm curious to see how he responds after this healthy scratching.
All right, let's get out to the Star Mechanical guest line. It's Edmonton's #1 plumbing and heating company. Whether it's residential, commercial, 24/7 emergency needs, they got you covered at Star Mechanical. Find out more, starmechanical.ca. I see him waving frantically. There's DJ Bean, our good friend. Happy New Year, DJ. Of course, 1/3 of What Chaos. Of course, the #1 heated rivalry podcast in the world as well.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you for every time you introduce me saying that I am 1/3 of What Chaos. That is such a puck knower and podcast knower. Shout out Pete's dog Penny.
I was going to say thank you, Tyler, for saying 1/3. Sean says.
Sean, I was going to ask DJ this question, but if Sean's there, we'll throw it his way. How are you dealing with the Sabres heater? Is your head getting too big? Are you staying level? I saw you calling out Biz the other day. So,
brother, we're winning the goddamn cup. It's the heavens have been opened. I'm sorry, Alex Lyon was a goofball and hurt himself, so y'all have to find another second goalie to revamp your goalie tandem. But no, I'm feeling good. Only slightly joking about the cup thing.
I think that's a normal reaction for him to have. Hey,
mainly the Oilers aren't getting Alex Tuck now, and I'm not thrilled about that. But while we're talking about goalies and Buffalo Sabres, I need to give you credit, Tyler, because you went 3 for 3 with the What Chaos boys on your Calvin Pickard every time his career is on the line tweet, and it was just a picture of Dominik Hasek. Bravo. It is infuriatingly true.
It is. And like, I think the Oilers know, like, they're not starting him tonight. I think they're like, all right, we gave him his 1. Now you need to give Ingram a few more. The next time you play Pickard, you do it and you come out publicly and say, like, Tristan Jarry's back next game. And then you play Pickard in that one and you guarantee a shutout.
Yes, exactly. They need to just keep like edging their goaltending situation. And if they could do it throughout the playoffs, if they can do a Jarry is back for game 7, they'll win in 6.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I like a good use of the word edging. This is a big edging show
as
well. Can I ask you, while we're on the topic of Oilers and goaltending, what kind of emotions do you feel when you see a smiling Stuart Skinner in a Penguins jersey out for the 3 stars of the game while the crowd's like, Stu?
I mean, if you think my Stuart Skinner fandom has changed even 1 iota, you're out of your mind. It's even grown. I still do not like that trade. And I know that we're on different sides of the whole like Jarry's injury history thing, but to everyone who's like, Jarry doesn't get hurt, that's bad facts. Well, how's he doing? What's he up to right now? He's hurt. He's fucking hurt. Anyway, Stuart Skinner, I love it because we talked about yesterday on our show. Pete called as soon as this trade was made. He was like, well, most obvious thing in the world, Stu's going to go on a heater for the Penguins. And because he can be a good goaltender and he can obviously be a great goaltender. So far, not so good. So to get that moment last night and with his kids there, I don't know if you saw him and his kid and Kulak's kid wearing the daddy jerseys. Stuart Skinner is an impossible player to root against. And that's the most I've ever felt conflicted with Oilers fans, with how often I felt Oilers fans were rooting against their goalie. But I understand it. The goalie gets heavy as the head that wears the Stu mask. But damn, I want good things to happen for him. And I'm certain they could have still happened in Edmonton. So I still miss him, but I'm watching more Penguins games, and we might go to the Oilers-Penguins game later next month.
In Edmonton?
Yeah, it's before Jasper. So we might fly in a day early and catch. But here's the thing. I told my girlfriend this. I was like, if Stu's playing and Edmonton fans start taunting Stu, we're walking out. Because I'm not going to be associated with that.
There will be a Stu chant when he makes a nice save. When/if.
I will do it I will lose my voice doing it, because the last time we went to an Oilers game, we may have seen Leon's 50th and 51st goals, the second of which came in overtime, but we did not see Stu because he was injured. So would love. Last time I saw Stu in the flesh in Edmonton was the Cup final.
Stu is injured, hey?
Yeah, it was that horrible. Oh, fuck off! He is the one time he was injured. Off it.
One time.
Sounds pretty injury prone.
No, but dude, all the people that were like, and it's probably you, so I'm sorry if I'm mocking you, but like Tristan Jarry's only had 5 injuries over a 10-year career. Cool. When did they come? They all came within the last 2 minutes. You idiots.
This is just me versus Jay all over again, so I'm not going to go down this path. Liam, what else you want to talk about?
What did you make of the Team Canada Olympic roster that they put out there this morning? We spoke about it a lot this year.
I mean,
so
I was playfully, but maybe not playfully, pushing for Nuge and Hyman to make the team, because that would have just absolutely rocked. But no major surprises. I think that I'm going to more be surprised. Like the goaltending, I still think is so yucky. I'm going to have a bigger reaction to the American roster for a couple of reasons. One being, despite my best efforts, I am an American. And the other is that I'm kind of waiting for the world to burn with the like final forwards that are chosen. I'm not a huge like roster projection boy. I'd like to do it with NHL teams. Sometimes when I'm bored, I'll just take out my phone and just like write out what I would make the lines for certain teams. But I don't like to do the like what should be the Olympic team, what should be that, because I'm like, you know what? It's going to be a popsicle headache. We'll get the roster at some point and then we can be mad. And I think that USA is going to make a couple of choices. Most notably, I think Cole Caufield should be on the team, and it looks like he's not going to be. But there are going to be, I think, a couple of choices there that will burn them worse than the choices that will be made on Canada's end.
Well, Jason Robertson, right? Like that's the one rumor.
Robertson, Caufield are the two big ones. But honestly, and I got a lot of crap from this from our lovely whatnuts, I think I would go Caufield over Robertson, which is insane, because I think that Robertson. Maybe this is an argument for Robertson over Caufield, but like Robertson just seems like such an obvious top like 6 pick. And when you're thinking of the final members of the roster, like I would have no interest in having Jason Robertson as a 4th liner or as like a 13th forward. I would have interest in Cole Caufield there, because Cole Caufield, I think, is just like clearly a big game player. And although Robertson's had his moments when no one else on the Stars has in the Western Conference Finals, specifically last year, Robertson's just too streaky. Pete and I talk about it all the time. Like, we're afraid of streaky players in tournaments. So I understand the argument for keeping him off the roster, but also I'm like, the most productive American player is not going to make the team. That seems like an easy second guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a funny angle in all of this. And again, we spoke about it briefly, but like, Morgan Geekie is having a really good season, and he's just never been in the conversation to make Team Canada. Like he spoke about it a bit, right? Too, being like, I have no expectations to ever be in the conversation for this team.
Yeah, I mean, Morgan Geekie always sounds like he is not a hockey player, and he just got home and he's being like approached by media as he's getting out of his car with like a bag full of groceries. Every quote he gives is just like, huh? Me? Oh, well, they probably thought I sucked. I don't know. Glad I'm scoring goals. Pete, is that a decent summary? Is that a good encapsulation of Morgan Geekie? I said Morgan Geekie's quotes usually there is like clips sound like he's not a hockey player and he just got home from getting groceries and someone came up to him and asked him hockey questions and he was like, well, I'm just like, whatever, man. I just happen to be scoring 1 million goals for For a oh yeah, no, it's a vibe. We like it a lot, but I'm not surprised that he would be like, I have no expectations of this.
So we obviously Oilers Bruins tonight. One of the reasons we wanted to have you on because you're in Boston. The Bruins haven't won since the last time. I know the Oilers beat them, but like the Oilers beat them on the 18th. The Bruins still haven't won in that time span. Correct?
Yeah, that is correct. They've lost, I think, 6 straight games.
Yeah. So I mean, this is a team that through October, November, we're looking really good. I guess like what's gone wrong in Boston?
The Magic, Pete has declared the Magic is gone for the Bruins. And we've been a big Magic watch team this year. Famously, the Seattle Kraken have the Magic because they traded Mason Marchment. For a minute there, Canucks had the Magic after trading Quinn Hughes. And the Boston Bruins had the Magic for a little stretch. Magic is gone. What I found most interesting is I've been getting more not angrily not like angry, but more like anti-Marco Sturm texts from Pete than I would expect, where there's been moments. I think specifically there was a game where like he botched some challenges. So like all the things that it seemed like were going right, that it wasn't just Pasternak doing everything, that it was balanced scoring to a degree, good goaltending, but like if you have Swayman, you should have good goaltending, and then also good coaching. I think that maybe some of the charm has worn off with some of those things.
That's fair. Liam, one more, then we'll wrap.
I did have one more, but it totally slipped my mind what I was actually going to ask you, DJ. So I sincerely
interviewing tip. This happens to me all the time. Just keep talking. You're going to say something dumb. And then as soon as I start to answer your new bad question, you're going to remember what it was.
Okay, let's see.
So just improvise a bad question.
You just want me to lob up, Liam? I'll just lob up. DJ, the Oilers could be, if they win tonight. I know games in hand are a fucky thing, but who cares about games in hand? If the Oilers win tonight, they're walking into 2026 in the top spot in the Pacific Division. That feels pretty good considering where we were 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Yeah, we're in a tough spot, buddy, because our show is very much a points percentage show when it comes to the standings. And right now, it's good for our show because points percentage puts the Buffalo Sabres in the playoffs right now. And we're a Buffalo Sabres show. However, if you just go by points instead of points percentage, Edmonton Oilers are in first place. So I'm starting to do my own research and maybe veer away from points percentage.
I don't hide this at all. It's all based on how it affects the Oilers, which one I use. So like right now,
Good
yes,
move.
I am going with the stance of games in hand only mean anything if you win.
If they win.
So,
yeah.
So who gives a shit if Vegas has 3 games in hand? They got to win them and they haven't won them yet. So I'm not counting them. If it was reversed and the Oilers were like 1 point back with 3 games in hand, I'd be sitting here going, well, obviously the Oilers will win one of those 3. They're basically in first place. But for now, Oilers are the top team in the Pacific.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Is there a schedule for when the Oilers wear the Gross jersey?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
Fine.
Well,
they wore it like 3 times leading up to Christmas in hopes that people would buy all the merch. And I'll be honest, it worked on me because I bought a ton of the merch.
Yeah, I bought one too.
Did you get the jersey?
Yes.
Wow. Pull over. DJ, we love them. I think they're awesome.
Interesting. I mean, they've definitely grown on me, and with what they play well in them. But I've wanted a Jake Wallman Gross jersey forever, which is kind of weird because he hasn't been able to wear it as much. But damn, I saw one in the flesh at the Bruins Oilers game a couple weeks ago. I saw someone wearing the Jake Wallman Gross jersey. It's a very long story, but it was like a top moment of my life. I want that thing. But if they're wearing it when we're in Jasper/Edmonton in January, if they wear it in that game, I will absolutely buy it.
The Oilers wear them Jan 12, Jan 13, and Jan 31 are the dates there. Although they did add an extra one, I think, right around Christmas when they were playing so well in them. So maybe they'll add one more, and you'll get your wish while you're here. DJ, appreciate your time.
Stuff on it.
Oh, please, that'd be so funny.
Yeah,
he would love it.
Yes, I'll be like, stuff. We need you. It's important.
And get him to sign it. That'd be sick. All right, DJ, we will see you in about 3 weeks' time when you come down for the Jasper Pond Hockey Tournament. Appreciate you popping on, and Happy New Year.
Can't wait. Hope for your sake that I'm not on your team because I was unaware until Johnny Laz told me the other day that the hockey in that tournament is actually good. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll be all right. All right, there you go. DJ Bean, 1/3 of What Chaos. Excited to have the boys up in our neck of the woods coming up in January for the Jasper Pond Hockey Tournament. You are running out of days if you want to come out with us. NationGear.ca, Jasper Pond Hockey Tournament, Fairmont JPL, Tourism Jasper, CHE Hockey. They put on a hell of an event. It's your last chance. January 23rd to 25th is when we're heading out there, so sign up today. All right, I'm very happy we made that work with DJ, Liam. That was a good way to end our show and end our year.
I wonder who they were interviewing.
I do know, but I can't say.
Can you give me a clue?
I'll tell you about it after.
Okay, that works. Yeah, that was a good way to end it.
Yeah, that was good. Thank you, everybody who watched this year. I know we don't really do the whole like big hoopla, whatever, but we had over 1 million live viewers. We had over 800,000 podcast downloads. How many million clip views did we probably have this year, Liam? Like
too many to count.
Yeah, we're talking tens of millions of clip view. Like awesome stuff. And again, a big reason why is the people who sit here and watch our show and spend all your lunch hours with us. So we are grateful. We're excited to head into 2026 and continue to hopefully give you guys the same damn good show 5 days a week. So thank you to everybody in the YouTube. Stay safe tonight, no matter what you're doing on New Year's Eve. And we will see you all back here and see you next year in 2026. Oil up. What's up, Nation citizens? If you enjoyed today's episode of Oilers Nation Everyday, make sure you hit the subscribe button here on our YouTube to not miss any of our content. We got you covered from interviews, insight, analysis, everything you need to stay up to date on everything around the team. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a video.